Hey guys, so one question that I seem to get a lot from people who know that I'm doing nursing or even from like fellow students is about time management and how I manage my time each week and use it to the best of my ability to get everything done on time, if not even ahead of time. I am very organized. I love lists. I love making lists. I love putting sticky notes everywhere. It just helps me keep organized. So one thing that I'm going to do in here is just talk about organization and time management. And in some parts it kind of goes together and it's not like separate entities. But the first thing about studying and using your time wisely is knowing what environment you can study best in. Not everyone is the same. Obviously, we all have our different, nicks and how we study, or some people have to be around a lot of noise. Some people can't be around any noise at all. You just have to find what works best for you. I personally like to study in my room because I can just close the door. It's kind of a relaxed environment. I don't feel like I have to get up and gotta go clean the dishes, or I need to vacuum, although that does sometimes happen, just depending on the day. But it's cut down drastically from if I was out in my kitchen and I was like, oh, I need to do those dishes, I'll do that instead of studying. However, sometimes I do find that I just need interaction with people because I don't have classes on campus and I'm solely online. It can get really lonely. Like I had said before, I don't have many friends in the area I live in, so there's not distraction, there's not people I can go out and talk to. So sometimes getting that little people interaction is nice, and I'll go to our local Panera and put headphones in. That way I feel like I'm around people, but I'm still able to focus and study and really get into the material, and some days that's just what I need. So, find a place that works for you and, use it to study. Along with that, you kind of want to stay off of social media. Actually, I definitely recommend it. Turn your phone off, turn off Facebook, turn off your alerts if you have to because you see it pop up. If that's the case, put your phone somewhere away from you where you're not going to see it light up, or you're not going to see, oh, I got a new text message, who's it from, or anything like that. Commit to not getting on those websites, to not logging on, to just see real quick, because say you do that for 5 minutes and then you get back to studying and then your phone lights up again or something, and you're on there another 5 minutes. That adds up over time, and throughout the day you can burn a lot of time that you could have used studying on social media or on different websites or looking at pictures or answering or talking to people. How important are those conversations when it comes to schoolwork? I think that's something important to think about. You could spend and waste so many minutes on social media when you could be using those to your advantage to get your schoolwork done on time or ahead of time so that you can use your time wisely later on. So don't burn time on social medias. Just turn those off, eliminate the distractions as much as you can. I think that's super important. I'll put my phone to where I can't see it, behind me or something, on the ground, just so that I can't see it. I'm not getting distracted. I'm really focusing. When I'm studying, I like to study. Some days it's just hard to focus. There's just some days where you don't want to do schoolwork. You just have no desire to do it. And those times I usually will set a timer for every 15 minutes, and I will study and I will work my hardest to get certain aspects done. If I have an assignment, I'm like, okay, this will take me, sometimes it's not even 15 minutes. For discussion posts and things, I'm like, oh, this will take me 30 minutes to do. This one's an easy one, I can do it. So I'll set my timer for 30 minutes. And I will work as hard as I can in those 30 minutes and really try to get it done while still keeping the quality really high, because you don't want to rush through something and turn in an assignment that really you're not gonna get, you're gonna get the grade you deserve for it or whatever. So be realistic. Don't say you're gonna do a 3-page paper in 30 minutes if that includes having to do research and typing it out and rereading it to make sure that you get your grammar and punctuation correctly. Don't be unrealistic, keep that in mind when you're doing it. Along with that, if you don't have a stopwatch or a timer, if you have any kind of smartphone, even if you don't have a smartphone, if you go to the clock button here, I hope some of you know that, but if you go to clock there, mine's already set up actually for 15 minutes, if you can see that. I will just start that, or I'll switch it, okay, I'm going to do an hour on this paper, and then I can take a 5 or 10 minute break and go, do whatever I need to do, whether that's go make lunch, have a 30-minute lunch break, where I'm just completely away from the schoolwork. Sometimes I still do work while I'm doing homework, just so that maybe, I can eat dinner with family or a friend or whatever the case may be. Something that goes into that with the scheduling your time is prioritizing and being organized throughout the week. And really, I find starting that off at the beginning of the week, even the beginning of the semester, is helpful. And I would suggest getting a planner. I have a planner. I would be lost without my planner. I put so much stuff in this thing, both school-wise and personal. I do and I don't like this planner. I found that I like it because here it has the month view. I'll show you just a month here. I don't have a lot of stuff written down here, but just like my T's day, I was taking my T's and when I got my scores and some of the application process. But it has the month view, so you can see, month to month on here. And you can write down those days in the month calendar. But it also has a weekly thing. And this is where I found I just didn't have enough room on each day to write what was due. And so I ended up sticking in, Post-it notes and papers, adding them into my calendar just because I didn't have enough room. But I love my calendar. And actually, this past week, we had the back-to-school tax-free weekend. And so I went ahead and bought a planner for next year, and I bought a big one. And I love this thing. I cannot wait to start using it. First of all, it's big, so it's not gonna get lost in my book bag or forgotten somewhere. It's oh, I can't find it, where did it go? But it also has the same, it has the calendar for this year and then next year as well, so you can look ahead if I wonder what this day falls on next year. And it has the calendar monthly view, which I really like, and it's so much bigger than my little one. It's so much bigger, so much more room, which will be really nice because, like I said, I'll have more room to write. It won't be all cramped and hard to read, but it also has the weekly view, and there's more room on this for me to write things out, and hopefully less Post-it notes that will get lost or, risk of falling out or whatever. But I'm really excited to get to use this in January, which will be really good because January will be when I really start into clinicals and working in the hospital, when I start those clinical shifts. So that'll be very helpful, knowing which hospital I have to go to, which days are class, which days are lab. So I'm really excited to use that. But my planner, I definitely would suggest you getting a planner that you can use to keep yourself organized. And my suggestion is, I like to color code, and my suggestion would be to take all your syllabi, which, depending on where you go to school, depends on what your syllabi will look like. Mine did not have like a spread printout, and I didn't want to take the time to make one because my classes all open on for the school I go to, and each school is different. Some might have it in a calendar format, some of it might have them in a list. It just depends. But for my school, they don't open until the Monday of classes. So classes start Monday, and Monday at like 1 a.m. you can log on to see your courses. And so what I found just worked best for me was taking the syllabi online and printing them off, and they come out like this. And what I did was, well, you can see my grade there, I don't really care. I printed it out. So this was all due the first week of classes, and I wrote down, when it was due right on here so that I had multiple copies. I wrote what day it was due. So like discussion posts are always going to be due on Wednesday for my school, and we have to post a reply. However, that wasn't on here, so I was writing it down at the bottom. But throughout the semester, I also, and you can change up how you do this. You can do this week by week and put it in your planner. So, like this week is over, next week I'll go take that week and write it in my planner. Or you can do 2 weeks ahead of time, or whatever works best for you. I personally like to have everything down from the get-go, so that I just know and I don't miss anything, because I am so self-conscious about that. Like, I don't want to miss any assignments that are due. So for like this one, my nutrition class, I went through, this was last quarter, because I took nutrition, human growth and development, and just finished up those classes. But I took what was on there and I put it in here on the week, and I color coded. I love to color code my planner and my notes. It just helps keep me calm. Keeps me sane. So I have these like felt pens that I bought that I love because they're bold and they're thick. They like write really, they're not super fine. So I have these colors, and generally they correspond with a class or a lab, and then I usually set one aside, which I do orange because I don't really like orange, so I figure I'll use that for grades. So then during the week, when I get grades back, like, see, I'll put the grades in my planner right next to the assignments that I have done, so that I can just kind of keep track, like, okay, I got 100, oh, I got a 92 on this. Like, nutrition the first week, I got a 98 on one of my assignments. I just write that there just so that I can see how I'm doing, and I have it all there in case for some reason something happens on her end, or I have to return in something, or anything. I just color code those with these. On top of that, let me put those down there for now. I also use highlighters, and I will highlight in my planner. Typically, I only will highlight with like a couple colors depending on the class. Generally, green highlighter means it's a quiz, and yellow means that it's an exam. Oops. Orange is a meeting. If I have to go to a meeting on campus or go onto campus for any reason, that's in there. Pink is any assignments that are going to be due at lab that I have to do. And blue is any of my course projects or like final prep stuff that I am going to have to get done for classes. And I will just highlight those in my planner just so that I can keep track of, what is due when, and just at a glance know, oh, next week I have 2 quizzes and an exam coming up. Or next week I have my course project coming up in 2 weeks. What do I need to do to finish that and get that prepared so that I can turn it in. I also have this thing, I don't like writing in pencil. I like writing in pen. So I write all my notes. Also notes, I use highlighters as well. Here's my nutrition notes. And yellow usually indicated a main topic, and then the blue highlighter was the definition or the highlight of what that meant. So like this was 6 nutrients, and I just highlighted carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water so that I could get to a point where it's like, okay, I need to know those super clear. But I use colored pens for my notes, and again, each one has different classes. Some of them I don't end up using as much as others, and I'll use those colors for personal things I write down in my planner or whatever. But again, I like colors, and I like color coordinating things, and that just works best for me. You want to pick a system that's gonna work for you. If you know ahead of time it's not gonna work for you, don't even waste your time, because we're all different. Different things work for different people. But this is just what I found that works best for me, and has helped me keep my sanity and keep organized and not miss assignments or due dates or events coming up that I have to be at. Like, I have to be on campus to do this paper or turn in this exam, or whatever the case may be. Something that goes along with that is knowing when your assignments are due to complete them on time. This kind of goes into time management and organization. When I am organized, I know what's coming up. I know what I need to do, what needs to be done when, and I can be prepared for classes, etc. So let's say it's Monday. I've got everything in my planner, I've looked at my planner, I know what needs to be done, and I see, oh, I have 3 discussion posts due Wednesday by midnight. Typically, max a discussion post will take me 2 hours, depending on how much research is involved, how many sources I have to use for that particular discussion post, etc. So what I will do is Monday morning, I will write out for the day each morning, Monday morning and then Tuesday morning or whatever, and kind of say, okay, Monday I want to get 2 discussion posts done and all of the reading for my nutrition class, or whatever the case may be, and I plan it out, sometimes by the hour, sometimes by the 15 minutes. So Monday I wake up and I start studying, and I go ahead and see I have 3 discussion posts coming up, plus their replies to each one due on Wednesday. On top of that, I still have all the reading, which for each class can be anywhere from 100 to 150 to 200 pages. It just depends on the class and how many chapters you have to read that week. So I will budget my time, and I will say, okay, I know that this discussion post, as I pre-look at it, is going to take me about an hour to do. Or maybe this one's only going to take me 30 minutes to do, because I don't need a lot of sources. A lot of it's kind of off my own experience, in which case I will set my alarm for an hour, and I will dig into that and try and get it done as best to the best quality I can as soon as I can. And I will just work and work and work at it. And if I finish early, that's great. I'm like, oh, I finished this in 35 minutes. Rather than getting on social media like we talked about earlier, or rather wasting my time fidgeting with other things or whatever, I might start into the next thing set on my calendar and just work ahead. And again, I kind of mentioned it earlier, be realistic. Like, if it's going to take you this much time, it's going to take you this much time. But work ahead. If you finish before those 15 minutes are up, or you finish before that hour's up, start working on the next discussion post. If you finish all 3 of your discussion posts or assignments that you have set out on Monday, and you work ahead, you have more time later on in the week to go out to dinner with family, to go see a movie at the theater, to go get an ice cream cone randomly throughout the day one day, to work out. Sometimes even figuring out when I'm going to work out in the week, it's like, I have so much schoolwork. So work ahead, use that time wisely. And really, if you're going to sit down and you have a 4-hour break to study, sit down and use that 4 hours, putting aside everything else, and work ahead. Just keep working. If 4 hours you finish what you wanted to accomplish, start working on stuff you want to do the next day, or start reading ahead, because then you can use that time you would have been studying to do something relaxing and enjoyable, taking a bubble bath, whatever. Let's see. Oh, on kind of going alongside of that, if you, let's see, what I'll do typically is I'll look 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time. So right now I'm currently in the 8th week of school, and finals are coming up in week 11. So I have started preparing, and I've been setting my schedule up. And in my calendar, I write down, when I write down in the week, like here, let's look at week 10. I write down, okay, this is going to be due, anything that's written down here, it's due that day. Anything that's written down for Thursday is due on Thursday. So that when I look at it, I know immediately, okay, that's due on Thursday. You know, that quiz I can do online, it's Tuesday. I've gotten all the readings. I feel pretty confident on this week's material, although I probably wait closer to Wednesday just so that I had more time to study. But go ahead and take that quiz Wednesday. Get it done and out of the way if you have time. I will do that so that by the time I get to Thursday, if I'm done with everything, because I'm doing Friday's work on Thursday, I have that 4-hour block set aside on Friday, or I have that 5, 6, however long hour block on Friday, that I can start either using that time to work ahead on the next week's assignments, or, which this is typically what I do, I use that time to study for the upcoming exam, either reviewing the material from previous weeks, writing flashcards, note cards out for vocabulary, and then I'll take those vocabulary cards with me to study for the exams and stuff. I'll take them when I go and I'm going to a doctor's appointment, or I'm going to get my hair cut, or I'm going to get my nails done. If I'm going to treat myself to things like that, I take the cards with me and study while I'm sitting there waiting, or just reviewing them so that it's constantly in my head and I'm constantly remembering stuff from the beginning of the semester or the beginning of the quarter, because I just find that I do so much more, so much better on exams when I'm constantly reviewing the material and not the week before trying to cram for the final exam. And that can be so beneficial to you if you take the time to go ahead and go through and do it. I think really, oh well, I'll show you this too. I meant to say this earlier. I like being organized. I make liking lists. I have so many Post-it notes. Post-it notes save my life, because I will take Post-it notes and write down things that I'm thinking about. Like if I'm washing the dishes, I'll be going over how the kidneys filtrate and reabsorb and secrete nutrients and waste and stuff, and I'll be going over that. And if there's a process in my head as I'm doing the dishes, I'm like, does it do this or does it go to this next? Which step comes next? I'll kind of like write on the Post-it note. So sometimes they're like wet or they're smeared or whatever, but I look back later on, I'm like, I really need to review this topic. Or just mental notes to myself, you know, don't forget you have to take this exam. Also as encouragement, I'll like stick these on the bathroom mirror, or I'll write with like whiteboard markers on the bathroom mirrors or the mirrors in my bedroom. Just little things or words. Sometimes it's vocabulary, so as I'm washing my hands, oh, this means this, this means this. And so I'll see those list of words and I'll just automatically be going over them in my head. Really, it's just about finding what works for you. And I can give you all the things I use, or funny ways I remember things or study, but it all comes down to what works best for you. And I can give more ideas, that's totally fine, but just find what works for you, and that will help you study and do the best that you can on exams. So kind of just recapping what we've been talking about and how it goes in together. Pick a place that is going to work for you, where you're going to be able to study and really concentrate. Stay off social media, put it aside, turn it off. You know, get away from it so that you can focus and use your time wisely. That's the biggest thing, I think, is our society right now is so plugged into their phones and computers, and like they always have to be on it, that they don't realize how much time they're wasting on it, or how much time, oh wow, that 5-minute Facebook break turned into 30 minutes, and I just wasted 30 minutes I could have been studying. And I just come back to, yes, it's nice to see how people are doing, but did you really need to spend 30 minutes looking at those ads or those posts of people that you probably really don't care about? Prioritize each week, even at the beginning of the semester, sitting down and writing out everything, or at the beginning of each week, the week before, writing down what's due so that you know what's coming up. Budgeting your time wisely, knowing how long assignments realistically are going to probably take you, and then using the time left over to work ahead or to study out for final exams, or exams in general, or quizzes, or in writing papers. But using every ounce of time to the best of your advantage, and understanding the payoff that in the end it's gonna be worth it. And then we just talked about, finding syllabi-wise what works for you, if printing them off, if writing them in your calendar, if doing little things like this and like checking off each week as you do it and writing down when it's due. Whatever works best for you. I think that's it. If you guys have any questions or have any more questions related to time management in certain situations that you would like advice on, feel free to comment below, and I will try and give you ideas that will help you use your time wisely. If you're having a problem with whatever, maybe I can help think of an idea that you can use to use your time more efficiently and get the work done that you need to get done. That is all I have for today. I hope that this kind of encourages you and helps you find other ways that you can organize your week schoolwork and budget your time so that you're using it wisely. I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching.